Hello and welcome! I am going to be summarizing your entire high school life in just 1 hour. Welcome to the live stream, or welcome to the live stream replay if you're watching this after it's already been up. I'm Quinten Hyde and I'm going to be recapping your entire high school life in an hour. Now, this is how it's going to work. The first part of this live stream is going to be the content part, which is where I'm going to do what I stated twice before. After that is community engagement, where I'm going to read all the comments. Please be free to chat with each other and everything. And then I'm going to get started. So I'm going to, it's a little bit different than what I normally, how you would normally see it in movies or anything, because in the Netherlands, middle school and high school is basically one thing. So I'm going to recap middle and high school into one. When you start out, you're just like, you're a happy young, probably 12-year-old. When you're entering middle school, you're a happy 12-year-old person. Your backpack is probably bigger than you are yourself. You're filled with books and you think, I'm going to go to middle/high school. I'm going to be one of the big people, one of the big boys. You always see it on TV. It's going to be great. You think it's going to be awesome. You're kind of disappointed that the moment you get into school, it's not as cool as you expected it to be. It's not as glamorous as you see it on, most of the time, American television, where they display high school as some sort of super interesting social event, hyping it completely up and everything. But you know what? It's still the first day. It's probably gonna be cool, right? That's when you get your first couple of classes. Most of the time, the first week, it's all like introduction. People are starting to know each other. You're super nervous because everyone here is new. You don't know anyone. Maybe you got a lot of like a couple of people from other places from your previous school that you know. But you get in, you start getting your first classes, and you realize it's not actually that fun. You're going to have some classes that you find nicer than others, but you're also going to have classes that you completely hate, and you're probably going to hate for the rest of your school time. That's when when the teacher for the first time says, you're going to get homework. You might be thinking like, homework, that is what the big kids always have. That's what the big kids have on TV. Homework is gonna be super cool, right? Maybe that's just what I thought, because when I went to high school, middle school, I thought, wow, oh my god, homework? That's what everyone's always talking about. That's what they say on television. That's what big kids do, right? So I thought, you know what, homework, that's gonna be awesome. But then, when you get it, and they say like, read this chapter, make these blah 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 blah, you get back home, where you do your homework, clearly, and you realize you actually have to do it, because it's either graded or they check if you've done it or anything like that. Like for example here, people had checked if I had done it. Like they would check, have you done your homework? It wouldn't be graded per se, but they checked, and if you hadn't, you had detention. Then you realize it's going to take a lot of your free time, and you start to hate homework before your first week even ended. Still, everyone in the first year, people are very awkward. At least when I went, everyone was really awkward. For some reason, when I was in my last year of high school, everyone who was just getting into middle/high school like, at the age of 12 were super confident about everything. So I don't know, maybe there's a shift in the universe when people who are going to high school, middle school are now no longer really nervous about it. I don't know. Maybe because social media. That's what old people would say. Now, people get really awkward. You start to make friends, and everyone forms like this little clique. You realize it's also not exactly like you see in the American movies. Maybe it is the case in America. I don't know. Where they have like the goths, the punk kids, the nerds. But you also find that it's not completely inaccurate. I mean, you are drawn to the people that are more like you. And you form cliques based on mutual interests and mutual personality and the way you act around each other. The thing also is, you realize it's not that, like, there's not such a hierarchy like they show on TV, where it's like, the popular kids rule the school, and if you're not cool like the popular kids, or you do sports, which here is not that big of a deal, to be honest, that doesn't mean immediately that you're at the bottom of the hierarchy and that everything like that. So that's better. You feel positive about that. But also, As the time progresses, people start to get more and more confident and more comfortable in the school. People start to get to know each other, the place and everything. You no longer have that thing where you try to find a classroom, but then you have to like spend 20 minutes trying to find the classroom. I personally never really had that problem because my school was laid out super easily. It was like every class that starts with that is there, every class that starts with that is right over there. So everyone understood the way it worked. But as everyone starts to get better and more personal and more comfortable, some people start to get more and more annoying. The reason that they get more annoying is because they probably have like a super annoying personality. They are already like the quote-unquote bullies like they are on their way to become the annoying people that you rather not have in your class. This is the way they grow up as they get more comfortable, and that also especially happens in your second year of middle/high school. When you get in there, for some reason, I don't think, like, I think that's a universal, like, I think that's why Murphy's Law was invented. Because in your second year, you're gonna get the most annoying people. Because no one really stays behind the first year. Some people do, and that's not like, it's not like a shame if you have to do your first year over. I have a friend who, or I had a friend, we haven't seen each other in like, what, 8 years? Who had to do his first year over, and that's not a shame. But most of the time it doesn't happen, and the people that got so annoying because they were so comfortable the entire first year move over to the second year, where they see their fellow annoying friends again in their new class. And Murphy's Law just says that you specifically, are going to have the most annoying people in the entire school in your class. They always sit in the back of the class. They're always there being super loud, listening to music in such a loud volume that everyone else can hear it. And for some reason when you say, "Could you turn down your music?" or the teacher's like, I can hear that you're listening to music, they're like, "But how did you know? I could barely hear it myself." And you realize they have like major hearing damage. Can you hear that? Can you tell that happened to me like a lot? Not me personally, but like some guy on the other side of the class. I would just hear his hip hop. I could like hear it word for word. I could mouth the lyrics if I listened to that kind of music, which I don't. And then he's like surprised that other people would hear it. And it's not like he had open headphones, which is what, you know, where everyone can hear everything. I find them kind of lame, because what's the point of wearing headphones if everyone else can hear what you're listening to? But everyone could hear it, like in his closed ear pods, and he just didn't understand why. Anyway, these annoying people, if you're anything like me, which is different or strange, or I want to call myself interesting, you might get picked on. Hopefully you didn't, because I hope that no one gets picked on. But maybe just like me, you got picked on. Not a lot, but people, they just know that you're different, and they're just unpleasant. And even if they're not unpleasant to you, it just annoys it just annoys you that they're being annoying to other people. Because it's like they're being so insanely unintelligent, and you kind of want to tell them that, but also not, because for some reason they're always like 2 meters tall. Not that I was personally pretty tall. I'm very slim and very not muscular, and also very against violence. That is the point where you're gonna have to start dealing with it. But, and I'm not sure if that's everywhere in the world as well, in your second year of high school or / middle school, you're getting extra classes. For example, in my second year, they added something called NUSC, which is science, like physics and chemistry, which they made into this fun little acronym, and German class. Now, German class to me, for example, was not really a problem at all. But NUSC, so the science stuff, on the other hand, I was not really good at that. And that's all right. Like, you're going to find classes that you're not really good at, just like in the first year. But then also that introduces teachers that are not going to like you. Like, you're going to have already met teachers that you don't like. Maybe they're being very favorable to a few students that annoys you. Maybe they're just overall annoying people. Maybe they're the kind of teachers that are always like trying to crack jokes, but they're like, they take a meme that's like 8 years old, which doesn't exactly matter, but it's also like, I know you're trying to relate, but I would somehow even rather just listen to class. Anyway, you're gonna get teachers that don't like you. For me personally, this was my NUSC teacher. She was half deaf. Half deaf. Okay, no, that would have been a problem if she didn't like me. Half deaf. Which of course that's not a problem. Like, oh my God, she doesn't like me because she's half deaf. The thing is, she had to speak very loudly for herself to hear. It's not like I'm a quiet person. I speak loud. You can hear that. I hope that this is not too close to my mouth because then I'm just like, like I think this is like quite uncomfortable for you to hear. I speak loud. She spoke insanely loud, which is not a problem unless she starts to get annoyed. And if she doesn't like you, she might start getting annoyed at you. And then the moment she gets annoyed at you, she starts yelling at you. But since she can't really hear it, her yelling, it's like the sound barrier was broken, even though that's like a thing that has to do with speed. That's something I remember from science. I don't think she taught that. Anyway, she was loud. She was insanely loud. It was annoying. The thing is, though, you're going to have a teacher that doesn't like you for no reason. Because I tried my best in that class. But one day when I realized she didn't like me, she was like yelling at me for some reason, my mom actually went to school. And she was talking to her being like, he's like a model student and awesome. Okay, she didn't actually say that, but I'm just saying that about myself. Why are you what is this? And she just went, who? Oh yeah, Quinten. Yeah, no, I really don't like that guy. No. She didn't say it like that. She was like, yeah, I don't really have a positive connection with him. And my mom was just like, well, he doesn't have a positive connection with you either, so I guess that's fine. Which I still think up to this day is hilarious. Now, my brother, my little brother, is currently at my former high school, middle school. And he had her for another class, because apparently she also taught math, which is, by the way, the worst class that ever existed, just so you know. And I told him, like, okay, we have the same last name. He's a Hyde as well. I was like, probably don't tell her you're my brother. Because she didn't like me, and I feel like she's petty enough to immediately start disliking you. He, not caring about anything what other people think, just went up to her the first thing and went like, hey, you know, Quinten, I'm his brother. And she just goes, Quinten, did I teach you Quinten? Quinten, and he just goes, yeah, he's the student you didn't really like. And she goes, oh, Quinten, oh yeah, I didn't like that guy at all. And I was like, what did I do wrong? I was so nice. I did all my class, like, I ended with a 6, which is like a C in American standard. So it's like a satisfactory, but still everything I did she didn't like. But this also is your introduction to the teacher that is just really bad. Because that's just not being like, oh, she didn't like me, so she must be a bad teacher. I didn't understand the class. I was so bad at it. I felt so bad. I tried so hard to get all of that. There was, like, for example, there was this one thing that I could never remember. And it was so basic, but I could never really remember it. And I studied and I studied and I forgot it every time. A year later, I got another teacher for that class because she had surgery or something. One time he explained it. I still remember it up to this day, which is the way light fragments or diversifies or like converges. I still remember it up to this day. I've never done anything with it. I dropped the class as soon as I could. For some reason, I still know everything about it. That's the thing. You're going to find teachers that are just way better at explaining things than other teachers, even though they're supposed to explain the same thing. Water. Refreshing. Now, the second year, it's a pretty hard year. Everyone is starting to form like a good group of people. You have your friends, you have your enemies. You're starting to feel home in school. Well, not home like, oh my God, I love to go there. Some people do, most people don't. But then comes the third year of middle/high school. So for me, the thing I'm referring to is you're around 14 years old when you go there. This is the point, at least here, where they want you to try at least every class. They want you to know what every class is so that the moment you can pick your classes, you pick your curriculum and pick your timetable, you know what everything is because you've already done it once. So what they're like is, I'm going to put every single class in 1 year. And it's awful because all your days are suddenly so much longer and all of your days are suddenly so much more filled with homework because, and this is, oh, this is not good, I have to burp. There, we got it. All of the teachers only care about their class. And you realize that because, for example, they'll be like, okay, the 25th, I want to give you guys all a test. So study for that test. And then people are like, well, actually, we already have 3 tests that day. And for example, at my school, that was not allowed. You could only have 1 or 2 tests in one day. But some teachers are just like, they get upset with you for having more tests and more homework and more assignments and more reports you have to write. You have to do so much stuff, but they get triggered over the fact that you can't do their test. They get upset over that. And you're just like, you understand that they have to fill up their curriculum and that they have to finish their classes and everything. But you also don't understand how the teacher doesn't understand that you like to have a life, or at least do anything other than school. Because, and teachers know this, it's not like they don't know this, school is pretty much no one's hobby. No one, except for this one guy I had in school. Not gonna name him, obviously. He loved school. I had other people being like, okay, I follow him on Twitter. I don't, but other people said that. I follow him on Twitter. Every tweet that he tweets is about school. It even went as far as at some point he started to do a survey during lunch break where he would come up to people and be like, hey, I have a survey on how to improve this school. At some point, and that was like, it was admirable and it was impressive because he took over pretty much every extracurriculum stuff that could be managed by a student that wasn't like teacher bound. He took it. He was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna lead this, I'm gonna lead this, I'm gonna lead this, I'm gonna lead this. And at some point, I believe he managed pretty much everything, at least the things that have like a lot of organization, he would manage them. He actually ended up being a teacher in the exact school that we went to. Really interesting. Yeah, he was a few years higher. That's why he's already like working full time. Now, the thing about having to work all of these classes because they want you to pick the right ones for you is that the person that has to make your timetable, so the school that makes your timetable, like that part of school, they have to do a really good job. They have to do a really great job because they can't make you go every day from 9 till 4. At least not here. Maybe that's different at other places, but here people would riot over that. The thing is, with so many classes and so many years of having to do all the same classes, they might not always do such a good job because it's such a giant puzzle to do that. They do it a bit sloppily. For example, with me, in my 3rd year, I was 14. The first half year, I had an amazing timetable. Because not every class I had like throughout the year. Some classes I only had for half a year, so I could taste them, but not have to do it in a full-on year. First half year, it was amazing. I was home early every single day. It was great. It was fun. Then came the second semester, where the person making the timetable was like, oh my god, I made a little bit of a mistake, guys. I didn't 50-50 the classes. I forgot a lot of them in the first half year. So he made a new semester timetable for us for the second semester, which was insane. Every day we would go from 9 till 4, except for one day, because there was this one specific day where they weren't allowed to let people stay after 2. It was like a special rule in our school. No idea why. Except for that day, every day it was full on. But because we had so many classes, people were like, we want you to do this homework, we want you to do this homework, we want you to do this test. So our agendas, our schedules, they were full. People were burning out. This is also the point where you wish to yourself that you would get the flu. And this might sound weird to you, but I've heard myself and a lot of other people in high school, middle school say, oh my god, I wish I got the flu so I would have a 2-week break from school. But the moment this happens, you also realize you have to catch up. Because not like, pardon me, in elementary school, when you miss something, it's just, you miss it. There's not really an exam, a test, anything, at least not here. But in high school, middle school, when you miss something, you're gonna have to catch up yourself because they want you to do all the tests that you missed at some point. So you have to study more because all of the things that you miss are crammed into the weeks afterwards. So it costs even more work. And like it gets to this feeling of hopelessness, but then somehow you still make it through. You end your third year of middle/high school, you're 14, maybe almost 15, or you are already 15, and it's time to pick the classes that you're gonna actually pursue in the last couple of years of your high school, middle school study. Now, for me personally, I picked the classes that you would expect of me. Everything regarding society, media stuff, languages, not math, not science and all of that kind of stuff, except for biology, because that was just a very, that was an interest of mine. I almost actually studied biology. It was my only sciencey class that I really liked. For some reason, I still had to pick an artsy class, and I ended up picking music class, which was the absolute worst. But you picked your classes, and you feel confident because it's like, I dropped math. I was able to drop math, and my excitement went through the roof because next year, no more math. This is also the time where teachers have to tell you whether or not they think you can handle a class. At least for us. We had to sit down, and every teacher from every class had to one-on-one talk with us and give us a minus or a plus, basically indicating if they think we would be able to make their class if we were to pick it for the next couple of years. Now, at first, math and everything, they all gave me a minus, which is fair. But economy, minus, all of that. I wasn't good at everything, calculating everything. Bad at class is what we call that. I wasn't good at it. I was not great at it. Languages, everything, they were great. Biology, however, I had a weird teacher. I have an old storytime video about that. Might remake it at some point because it's old and I used to talk so slowly. But she was so strange. And for some reason, she didn't like me. It's not like she disliked me. She was just, I don't want to say a hippie, but she was like a hippie. She went to school without shoes. She was always when I had a pneumonia, she told me, "Oh, you know what works for that? Not eating sugar." Interesting, because she also had a degree in homeopathy. Homeopathy? Yeah, you get what I mean. Basically, she had to give me a plus or a minus for biology. I aced every biology test, even the one that she announced was going to be so hard that we would all fail. Also, great thing to say as a teacher. I aced it with an 8, which, I don't know, B plus? I don't know how that works. An 8 out of 10. It's high. I failed one thing that everyone else in class failed as well. One thing in the entire year out of 100 assignments. And she told me, gee, I don't know. I feel like you're not gonna make this class. I feel like if I give you, I feel like, no, I can't really, I don't know. I can't give you a plus because I feel like you would completely fail this class. And I was a bit offended. I was like, have you seen my grades? My grade for that is amazing. What are you talking about? You're the one grading me. And she was like, I don't know. I ended up, of course, taking it because it's just like an indication that you don't actually have to do what they say. I don't even remember what she gave me. I think she gave me a plus because I persisted on she giving me a plus. I ended up acing the entire class, by the way, all the way throughout high school, just so you know. But she quit after that year because she didn't feel in her place. And that was mainly because literally no one there liked her because she did such weird things. She talked about her sex life to class. It was weird. She would also talk about aliens instead of teaching, which I didn't mind because I like the subject, but it was still like, what are you doing? Anyway, the 4th year arrives. This is the point where you're 15, in middle/high school, you're 15. It's not like in the US where the 4th year is your final year because middle and high school here, like I said, for the new people, is the same thing. So it's your 4th year, middle high school, you're 15 years old, you have your new set of classes, and you're so excited because you don't have math. And you don't have all of the other stuff that you hate. And it's exciting, but then the moment you get there, they're like, yeah, since these are going to be kind of the final couple of years before you graduate, we're gonna put a lot more, we're gonna shift gears to a higher gear. I don't know how gear shifting work. I don't have a driver's license. And this is also why I'm not an engineer, I guess. They basically, they want to give more gas, as the Dutch people would say that. They want to get more done in less amount of time, get more like worked up for the final exams or the exams, because that's the year the exams are going to start. And it's exciting, but it's terrifying, but it's also great because, you know, the end of your high school time and middle school time, like, it's near. You know that you're gonna at some point study something that hopefully you really like, because that's what you want. But this is also the point where you start to get overworked again, because I've noticed, and this is not me being like, oh my god, it was so hard to be in high school, oh, poor me. But I've seen, like, even now, people that are in high school now that I'm seeing, people are being overworked. Like, I see 12-year-old kids have mental breakdowns being like, I have 8 assignments to finish before tomorrow. And I'm like, teachers, your profession is so important. You have to teach people, super important. You're forming the future some way. I mean, not every class is really that valuable for everyone, but at least you're making sure that people are picking the right careers. Don't kill the kids! Because this is the point. Every year, people are getting like at least a little nervous breakdown, but every year it's a little bit more. Like the first year it's like, oh my god, everything's so new. The second year is like, oh wow, we're like pulling the trigger a little bit more. I just saw your comment on that. The next year it's like, oh my god, now we're gonna have so many classes. The next year is like, oh my god, exams. The final year is gonna be like, oh my god, final exams. Like, you see people gradually get more and more stressed. And that's not okay. But this happens as well when they give you more homework. And I am seeing your comment, and people, they can't really handle it that well. They don't know what to do because they don't have a lot of free time to, I guess, like blow off some steam, because everything you have to do is do homework, which still, to me, is weird. Why are they allowed to tell you what to do at home? Like, I feel like it's so strange, because you have to go to school, but then they also have to tell you what you have to do later on when you're not there anymore. I still think it's rubbish. I still think you should be able to pick yourself if you are allowed to do homework, like if you want to do homework or not. For example, if I wanted to study for math, well, not wanted, I would make my, I would do those assignments, because that's the way you study for math. That's the way I would see if I'm good at it. I wouldn't have to do any like filling in stuff for like the making assignments that aren't graded in, like, for example, history, because history you could just read. And you could just read that, and that's the way you teach, like you learn most of the time. So why would you have to do the other things if you can go without? But that's just my opinion. Now, this is the point where you get really stressed out. You think about the whole thing like, is high school really worth it? Can't I just drop off and do like community college, which is the thing you can do here after you passed your 3rd year of middle/high school. You're able to quit basically and do community college, or MBO as it's called here. A lot of people do that. They quit their 14, 15 and they're like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to study something I actually like, and then later on work themselves up to university level or University of Applied Sciences. A bit difficult, but some people really do it when they really can't get along with the theoretical learning way that is high school. You're getting more teachers are getting more serious, and you're going to hear this thing a lot where it's like, are you really going to act like that? Because it's almost time for exams. But it's also the point where, because you're almost done, where the annoying people that were previously mentioned in the first couple of years, they're gone. And why is this? Because they stayed behind a year, and this is, like, it's a bit generalizing, but the people that are bullying, and the people that are generally like making classes worse and everything, they don't do so well in school. They don't get a lot of great grades, and they have to stay behind. So they're not in your class anymore. Your classes get progressively nicer as you go on after the 2nd year, and that's good. But still, no one really is enjoying themselves because it's hard. Then come the exams. These are like the first time you actually have an exam, which is not just a test or like a pop quiz or like an assignment, because this is the second last year of your high school and you have to do them. I'm gonna drink some water. So you're hyped up, but you're also scared, because instead of being like, this exam is going to be on chapter 1 and 2 or chapter 3 and 4, it turns into read the whole book. Seriously, that was, to me personally, that was a shock because it was like, I have an insanely poor concentration on reading things if I don't care. And I didn't care about any classes. Anyway, you're gonna have to study that. You're studying for your exams, but then if you have like your native tongue class, to me being Dutch, to you being maybe also Dutch or English or Spanish, anything, the class that is basically what you speak normally in your daily life. They're like, well, yeah, we know you have exams, but we want you to read literature. Oh, blip. They want you to read literary books, and it sounds fun because you're reading something, and reading can be a lot of fun if the story is good. Now, this is my opinion. Pretty much every piece of literature I find so boring. So there was one Dutch book that I had to read or chose to read that I thought was cool. There's this one, for example, there's this one Dutch book that is always being said like, this is it's the most amazing one. You have to read this, and you actually did have to read it. Called The Golden Egg. It actually it has an American movie adaptation as well. They just changed the whole story because Americans don't like unhappy endings. I find it so boring. I found it so boring, but you have to get through. At some point cheated a bit by using audiobooks because I just couldn't keep focused on reading, and I had to read like the same page 100 times over. Maybe that's you as well. I didn't find it interesting because so many things, your teachers are going to be looking for things that aren't there. It's like, so in that one scene where he walks into the room and he looks and he sees that the curtains are blue. What does that mean? And it's like, maybe the teacher, like the writer, just wanted to write and just like picture the room for you, like blue drapes on the wall. This is the way this and this and this looks like. Maybe that doesn't mean anything, but what you have to do, even when you're just completely like brain farting it out, you have to be like, well, the blue color of the curtains symbolize the way he feels blue on the inside. He's sad, and like curtains, when you open the window and you let things in and out, they wave in the wind, like they move with the flow, just like he had to move with the flow 4 chapters earlier. You're just making, I was really good at that. Just make that stuff up, and your teacher's like, oh my god, you totally understood the book. That is exactly what I was thinking. But like you're probably wondering, were they actually thinking that? Probably not. If you just made that up like out of the blue, out of the blue, like the curtains, they probably didn't think of that. They're just like, oh, that sounds pretty fair. Yeah, I guess that's true. Sounds interesting. It was the worst. But then it's the time where the exams come. Here in the Netherlands, I don't know how they do that in other places, but when there's like an important exam, that's not like a test, but like really an exam, you have to do that in the PE room, in the gymnasium. They put like desks everywhere, and teachers are monitoring you. They're walking around, they're looking like, are you cheating? Are you cheating? And it's like, how exactly would I be cheating here with 8 teachers watching me? Literally, in my school, if you had to go to the bathroom, a teacher had to come with. Of course, they wouldn't come into the stall with you, but you'd have to be like, yes, I have to go to the bathroom. All right, and they would like assign a teacher to walk with you. You would go into the stall. They'd wait in front of the door and listen if you were like taking out a piece of paper or something. So if they heard like that's not a paper sound, but you get what I mean. They're gonna look. They're gonna be like, I hear a paper. I hear. So they were listening to you being in the bathroom, and it's so awkward. Anyway, you finish up your tests. The tests are so long. You look at them, and for example, this is also one of the worst things that they do in tests. And it's like, don't worry, everyone. There's only 15 questions. You think 15 questions? Wow! But then you see question 1, question 1.A, question 1.B, question 1.C, and it's like, that's not 15 questions. That is 15 sections with multiple questions in the same test. Basically, after a couple of hours, you finally finish that up. Fun fact, I was allowed to do my exams on a laptop because no one is able to read my handwriting. And one of the teachers was so fed up with it that he told all other teachers, let Quinten do his stuff on a laptop. It is awful. Other students hated it because... But to me, it was great. You're finally done. You're nervous. You're sent home. The next day, you see your teachers and you're like, I mean, I know you don't have the grades yet because just one day passed. When are you gonna have the grades? And you expect like in a couple of days, in the next week or something. But then for some reason they're like, oh yeah, I think like a week or 3. You're like, excuse? 3? 3 weeks. How? And they're like, well, yeah, I mean, the whole year had to do that test. And there's other tests and everything from other years that we have to check as well. So yeah, no, it's gonna take a couple of weeks. But you're so nervous! Because like, to me, it often didn't matter because I had like good grades in advance, so I couldn't really stay behind no matter what grade I got. Patting myself on the shoulder for that. But to other people, this might actually be whether or not they pass, and they would have to wait 3 weeks. Then you finally get it, and your teacher just lists them all so slow. Like, it's all in alphabet, so it's like blah, 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 Adams, because it's always on last name. It's like they're saying that, and they're, you got an 8. You got... And it's like, oh my god, because maybe... Like, for example, with an H as a last name, I'm pretty high up in the list. But if your name is like a Z, you have to full on, like, wait until the whole list of other people has passed. Maybe you're like that. Maybe your name is, like, down in the alphabet. You always have to wait for everyone else. It is the absolute worst. Because you're curious. You want to know, what was my grade? What is it? Then they finally tell you, hopefully it's good. I have faith in you. I feel like it's good. I feel like you're gonna do well, or you did well. I don't know how old you are. Don't worry about it. If you study well, you put your heart to it, and you know, all of those things. You pass your 4th year, your second to last year, and you enter your last year of middle/high school. I personally was 16. I know that in the US it's a little older. It probably depends on. Was something happening on live? You're finally in your last year. It is exciting because you're literally the oldest in the school. You see those little first years that you've seen, that you were in your first year, and you think, I wasn't that short. My backpack wasn't that large in comparison to my back. I wasn't like that, but you were 100% like that most of the time. But it's fun, because you're the final year, you're the oldest of the school, you feel really cool, because it's like, when you were little, you saw those amazing 16-year-olds, and it was like, oh my god, 16-year-olds, they're so mature, and they know everything about the world already. You also realize that that's super not true. You're like, you don't know what you're doing, but this is also the point where you get counseling to know what you want to study afterwards. So I made a whole video on that thing that we had to do, like the career aptitude tests. It didn't work. It did not work because it told me that I had to become the spiritual leader in a mosque, and I'm not a Muslim. I'm confused because there was no question regarding that. It's weird. Made a video about that. But people are talking to you. They're talking to you, and they want your teacher. They want to know, what do you want to do? And some people are immediately like, I've been wanting to do this for so long. And they're like, well, with your current curriculum and classes, you can 100% do that. You can actually even already enroll if they want to. It's like, okay, well, cool. Yeah, sweet. Other people don't know. I was in doubt until, I think, halfway through my entire year. It took long. But I had some sort of direction, but also completely not. Because at first I wanted to become, a biology teacher. I also wanted to maybe become a history teacher at first, but then once I realized that I absolutely hated the class history, because everything is about the Second World War at some point, which makes me really sad because it's such a sad story and I don't like sad stories. I realized I didn't really want to do that anymore either. what was I gonna do? I was already making YouTube videos, but I was making YouTube videos on I was making Minecraft videos on another channel that doesn't exist anymore. I was excited about that. I was excited about editing stuff. Sometimes I made like videos with myself. Uh, I mean, like yeah, you got me. So I thought, what am I gonna do? I had that interest, but then one of my friends was like, "Hey, I'm going to study this. It's like a media study. You're gonna like be taught to do specific things, so you can pick everything that you want to learn." I actually ended up studying exactly that, which I'm now almost graduating from. The thing is, to a lot of people, they don't know what they want at all. Their parents are, for example, like, "Oh my God, you know what makes a lot of money? Money? What was that? A lawyer. A law. Well, not like all lawyers, but like some lawyers make a lot of money. Why wouldn't you become a lawyer?" And maybe the kid doesn't even want to be anything like that, but they have no idea. So it's like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna spend money and time on something I don't want to do. Guess a lawyer makes money. It's the worst. Don't do that. Like, it's honestly, this is my opinion. If you don't know what you want to study, if you have no idea what you want to study, wait. Unless you're not legally allowed to not go to school, because here you have to be 18 to be able to not go to school. But like, if you have to spend a lot of money, if you have to spend an insane amount of money and time on a study that you hate and something you know you don't want to do in the future, it's a waste. So I'm not saying like take a gap year and do nothing at all. Just be like browsing Instagram all day long. Just sit there like, oh, I guess I'm gonna get a hot dog now or something. What is cool is like working towards something you want to do. For example, if you want to be an entrepreneur or an influencer or anything, work towards your dream, or at least try to discover your dream. Like taste a lot of new, cool, different things during that gap year, or work, make money so you can try new things. That's really my thing. But basically, you're getting to the final exam of their final year of high school, middle school. You're insanely nervous because these count so high that if you mess these up, you might not graduate, because that's what they do. They're the final exams. They're everything that you've been taught the entire school. And it's nerve-wracking. It's awful, because you're all back there. You're all back in that gymnasium, sitting around, teachers like Valkyries just being like, "Someone has to go to the bathroom. I'll accompany them." It's not good. It's not fun. But you study so hard, and you have to study like 3 books a class, and you have like this whole timetable, and for a couple of weeks it's hard, and you're studying every single day, and it's like, ugh, ew. But then the classes come, and you do your test, and you have a feeling that you actually did really well, hopefully, but I assume you will. You have you have the feeling that it went amazing, and you're still curious, and you're still nervous, and you still have to wait a couple of weeks before you get your grade. But it's great. And here in the Netherlands, when you get called, when you pass or not, you get called. You get called up in your house, because they're like, okay, this is the calling day. Between this and this time, the teachers are going to be calling you. If it's if you pass, your mentor calls you. If you don't, to me, that was in my school the case. This one specific woman calls you. The only thing is, which was awful for some people, that woman was also other people's mentor. So they would hear her and be like, and they'd be like, no, I'm calling as your mentor. You passed, you graduated, congratulations, you're getting your diploma. And they'd be like, oh my God. I personally didn't have that. I was called 10 minutes before they actually should. And I immediately heard a male voice, which made me realize it wasn't the woman from administration who was going to tell me that I didn't pass. And he was like, "Hello, Quinten." I was like, "Ah!" And he was like, "You graduated." I was like, "Yeah, okay, awesome. Super exciting. I know that you will or have done that as well. You're going to graduate, and then you get to the graduation ceremony. Everyone will be," that's a tip. If you don't have that thing in the US where you wear those dresses and those weird caps, because I don't know what those are called, like togas or something. We don't have that. If you don't have that, people are going to be dressed up nicely. I'm just putting this out there, because when I was like, are people going to be dressed up nicely? Nah, I didn't. And I went in like a shirt and my hair, like, oh yeah, I didn't used to do my hair at all. So I had like a bowl haircut. I stood there like, sup everyone, yeah, thanks for my diploma. While everyone was in suits and fancy dresses and everything like that. So just a tip, if you don't have the dresses, people are gonna be looking fancy. Just the dress shirt is fine, but people are gonna be fancy. Also, another thing, if they are gonna take some teachers do like a little speech per person. They do like a little talk, like, I remember when I got them in my class, they were totally like this, but then they were totally like this, and they graduated. My lord, does that take long? If you have like a couple hundred people who they have to do that by, or even a couple of hundred people that I just have to name and give a thing, and all of the people in the audience watching you graduate, it's gonna get so warm. Like, everyone is gonna get these. But then you get your diploma, you know what you're gonna study, or maybe not. Some people don't, which is, again, is not a problem. But you know what you're gonna do the next year. And you know that from being the oldest, most experienced in school, you're gonna go from the youngest and the least experienced in the new one. But you have like a good idea, like a good feeling, because you're gonna do the thing that you really wanted to do, hopefully. If you picked well, you're gonna do the study, the everything that you want to do in the future, the thing that's gonna make you feel great. And personally, my study, I like it 1,000 times more than high school. I didn't care so much because you have so many classes that they're not great. It's just not fun all the time. But once you do your study, of course, there's not gonna be like, it's not gonna always be fun, but you're gonna have passed, and you're gonna do something that's gonna be great. And that is your entire high school life in not even an hour, which means that we're now going over into community engagement. I've been seeing the chat fly by. I need some water, but now that I can take it down a bit, like take my energy down a bit, I can actually drink some water without spilling it down my breathing pipe. That's literally translated from Dutch. Is it? No. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna read the stuff now. You mispronounced my as your again. No, I didn't. And I saw people were talking about, Quinten, do you like dubstep? Please answer this. I'm so sorry for using caps. No, that's fine. Sometimes I like EDM in general, which is funny because that's like a Dutch stereotype, which became a Dutch stereotype, or at least Western Europe, where they're like, that like everyone in Western Europe loves EDM and dubstep and like housey, hard like bass stuff, which I mean, I kind of do, yeah. I'm not like a fan of Skrillex, but I like the thing from what I've heard of Marshmello, which I just really heard. Like I just heard one of his first songs, and I like Martin Garrixy stuff. I'm not into music, says the Viper. Honestly, and people are often shocked when I tell them that, neither am I. Like, I have a Spotify premium account, but I barely ever use it. I like to listen to audiobooks or podcasts, and they're all about the same subject. I'm really curious if you can guess the subject, or at least the general subject. Yeah. All my podcasts and my audiobooks are about one general subject, and I'm curious if you can guess it. If you know me well enough, I'm curious. But I also saw someone say, oh, pardon me, sorry, that the Odd Ones Out, the YouTuber, the animation YouTuber, also listened to audiobooks because he couldn't focus. And yeah, it's funny because I saw that video as well, and I thought, that's relatable. I did that as well, because it's like, I could read. I was amazing at reading in elementary school, but the moment I got like, the moment I got forced to read a lot of other books, I didn't care. Like, I didn't care so much, and I lost it. How to make money on the internet selling your dog and mom. No, Xbox are placed. Okay, no, that's not your reference. I don't have either of them. Maybe podcasts about movie stuff. Okay, no one really has it right. I mean, especially if Viper had it wrong. Say this if you're Dutch. I'm so confused. Anyway, no. The podcasts and audiobooks that I listen to are all about social media and influencer marketing and YouTube. Every single one. I'm subscribed to 5 podcasts, and they're all about YouTube stuff, video making stuff. So I guess filmy stuff is kind of accurate, but it's mainly like, what are like big YouTubers doing right now? What are there are literally full Harry Potter books on YouTube, audiobooks on YouTube. Oh, cool. I don't get podcasts as wolves. Um, it's really just like a radio show, I guess. It's really, yeah, it's like a radio show, and it's fun. Like, well, at least I find it fun because when I still worked out, I mean, I haven't in a lot of time. I'm the heaviest I've ever been, but I used to listen to podcasts because I would just have that in, and you just like, you know, that everyone else had like these EDM, I'm not sure what that was, but I would just be listening to, and algorithmically, videos that are between 8 and 10 minutes do best in the recommended search, and I'd be like, do you play games? No. Actually, I used to be an avid gamer years ago, but at some point I didn't feel like it anymore, and I focused all of my time on YouTube stuff. I'm tired. You woke me up. Oh, sorry. I was going to get some social media thing, but that would be, but a serious answer. Ew. I mean, you'd be correct. The only podcasts I like are True Geordie. Don't listen to that, and Jackmate. I love Jackmate, but I've never listened to his podcast. Is it good? Because it's like an hour long, and I often don't have like an hour long dedication for something. I just realized the irony. Yes! Though I know that a lot of people do, but most of the podcasts I listen to are 15 to 30 minutes, and I would just put them in, and it's like, this episode we're going to be talking about how local businesses can use Twitter for blah 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 blah. How are you always so tired? Okay, in a minute. Like, I don't even have a local business, but I would still do like that. Why do you always look so tired? Well, it's literally just what my face looks like. Even if I sleep, like if I have the perfect sleep schedule for a year long, like it gets less, but I have this. This is what my face looks like. I don't know. I often get that where it's like, wow, you have like huge like bags under your eyes. I'm like, I know that's what my face looks like. What YouTubers do you watch? Some of my faves are Jack's Films, Ryan Higa, Al Mills, definitely. Uh, yeah, gee. I'm actually like wondering at the moment. I mean, I watch a lot of influencer stuff where they talk about marketing and they talk about like camera stuff as well, like DSLR video maker or whatever he's called. Like, but my most active watch is like whenever something comes out, it's a big YouTuber wise, it's Ryan Higa, of course, is my fave. Jack's Films. Oh, you said ever watch Steven Tries? I've not, but I watch his friend Willany. And small YouTuber wise, I always watch my friends, like my well, I watch my girlfriend, and I watch Jared Coons and everything. Random question, but are you excited for the Eurovision Song Contest? Well, I'm gonna have to be honest with you. I've never seen it. I've never seen it, and I was actually thinking about doing that for the first year, this year, because I've never actually gotten into it, and it's like, oh my god, did you see the like the finale? And I was like, nah. I really like this mainstream YouTuber called Quinten Hyde. He does comedy. Tags. That's what everyone says to me, that there's bag under my eyes, but there's nothing I can do. Same. I mean, I can like maybe I can like start learning makeup and then blend, contour. Yes, I was thinking about Eurovision too. I don't know. I like the fact that it's like country versus country, like sportsness or like you know, there's a lot of competition between countries, and some is like war, which is bad. But I like the idea that it's so wholesome that it's singing. No, I've never seen it. Did you ever ditch school? I know that there's like a couple of young people watching here, so I can't go into that. Honestly, yeah, but not for no reason. Like, for example, when I would get like a nervous breakdown, my mom and I would just mutually agree, like, maybe we should just like call you in sick, which is it's like technically sick, I guess, but not like, gee, I just don't feel like it today. Um, yeah, this is Quinten's mom. He's sick. Actually, that's what I sounded like when I was 12. That was my exact voice, I guess. You should watch Italy's music video. You will for sure cry. I don't cry that fast, to be honest. How can you not be shaking because of excitement for Eurovision? Because I've never seen it. Like, I'm gonna see it for the first time. Um, yeah, that's it. That sounded like there was something else coming, but I'm gonna see it for the first time. I'm curious. The thing is, in the past, I know that like I always knew who the Netherlands was sending, but in the past, the Netherlands was sending like, in my opinion, people who didn't represent the country well enough. Because there's great singers, but they would send people that were like, you know, not one like not trying to be mean, but they were not awesome. Then they started singing like very good people, like this woman named Anouk. But I didn't like the song she picked. She always had like such energetic songs like wah wah, and then she like birds was like when the birds fall. It's like, oh my god. I was once a bit ill, not too ill for school, but not up for going to Wallaby or whatever it was. Not ditching, but I felt a bit bad. That makes sense. You were going to Wallaby? That's like, I think that like at some point every school in the Netherlands goes to Wallaby. It's a fun place though. It's good. But yeah, I'm curious what do like are contestants already like announced? Like, do we know who's gonna represent the Netherlands? Oh, fun fact! I actually met one of the guys. I think he was a Eurovision singer for the Netherlands. Like, I know he's a singer, but I think he sang Eurovision. I once had to like work with him, quote unquote, during my internship. He was very peculiar, very peculiar. There was also this other famous Dutch person whose name I don't even remember because I never heard of him. He was super nice. But the company I worked for literally told me, don't talk to the cast. And I was like, excuse me? And they were like, yeah, they don't want an intern like getting up all in their business. I was like, what? So I full on talked to all of them because what are you gonna get? That's so degrading, being like, oh yeah, you're an intern, so those famous people don't care for you. They were starting to talk to me. What am I gonna do? Be like, yeah, sorry, but no, like, please. But yeah, they were pleasant. I just know that like I know some gossip about this one guy, but I can't really share that because that would be really mean. I just know that he did some weird stuff in our office at the time. Do you earn money with YouTube? No, no. Well, I mean, if you put it between these, because you always get, because I passed that threshold where you're allowed to run ads, so technically I earn ad revenue, but it's so little, and you're actually not allowed to tell who that was almost Dutch, how much it is. So like I can't go into detail, but it's not a lot. And also the thing is, a lot of people at my YouTube level, they already like they open up a Patreon and they start selling like 1,000 shirts, and it's all like shirts for only 35 euros, guys. Shirts for only 35 euros. Also, if you pledge me 10 euros a month on Patreon, you get a shout out on Twitter. And it's like, dude, stop. So I feel like, who will buy your shirts or Patreon? You, right? That's the thing. Like I know this guy who had 600 subscribers and an average of 50, 60 views. Opened a Patreon, and there were 3 Patreon tiers. $1, which was thanks for the dollar, like that was the reward. $10, which was like, wow, $10. Now you get access to the Patreon only feed, which still is like a lame reward, especially for €10, like one thing. And then the other one was 1,000, and the reward was, at some point I'm gonna be able to buy a car from this money. But the thing is, he actually, like, he expected people to get on there and be like, oh my god, let me give you some money. That's the thing. I feel like Patreon shouldn't be seen as a place where people can give me money, but more as like a, how would you call that? I don't know. Like a place to sell a product, because you have to get like good rewards. Like it has to be like, when someone Patreons you, they have to think, wow, I'm getting some sweet stuff. Oh, thanks so much, guys. That's the thing. I think merch is something you can start earlier. Like you can start earlier. At 50, you get into the super secret Patreon Discord server. Yes, exactly. I feel like merch is something you can start earlier with, but I feel like the way you should go at it is make a line of merch that is cool for everyone. So it's more like a clothing line than merch. So it's like people who like similar things will probably like this type of clothing, but it's not like putting your logo everywhere, your name, and have a line that is your inside jokes, your logo, maybe your name. So it's like the people who are really there for, like, who are like really connected to you can get person merch, but people who just watch you but they don't have that, like, that strong connection, can still really like the merch that you made that is just like a clothing line, because that's just basically creating a small mini brand. And I like that idea. Like, I think that is a cool idea. I feel like you can do that like as early as you want, because it's, I don't know, it doesn't sound as pretentious as making a Patreon so early on and being like, yeah, you know what, I bet at least 2, maybe 3 people are gonna give me oh, it's always in dollars, isn't it? Like $2. Like, I'm literally wearing YouTubers merch. Why is your sister being annoying? So I'm wearing Instagram merch, which I got at VidCon, and I'm actually, because I once made one merch shirt like months ago, I'm actually wearing that underneath. Okay, I can actually do this. Can I? Oh yeah, this is great. Like this. I made this. Well, technically my girlfriend made it. I added the text and I put it up for sale at the time because I had a group of viewers, well, I still have them, but who were like, oh my god, it was like the best joke. Can you please make a shirt out of that? So I did, because like it was more in like a cooperation with them, because it was like, the website I use allows me to pick 5 colors. What 5 colors do you like best? And they were like, black, of course, red is probably gonna be cool, and like I picked it with them, basically. It was like a mutual design spree, if you will. Talking makes me so thirsty, which is weird because I always talk. It's just that when I talk an insane amount, I get really thirsty. But you know, reason I like merch a lot, or at least the idea of having my own merch, is that I would wear it myself. I would wear it myself. Like that's my train of thought, that if I grow a lot, I want to, like, at all time carry a couple of shirts in my backpack wherever I go, that if I meet someone and they're like, oh my god, you're Quinten Hyde, I like your channel, and then I'm like, oh well, here, take a free shirt, because I feel like that's such a nice thing to do. And my stepfather actually has a festival that he owns, and people know him around town for that, and he has shirts of that festival with him at all time, and sometimes they're like, oh my god, you're Olaf from blah blah blah, oh my god, that's so awesome. Then he's like, oh yeah, well here, have a shirt, and that's really cool. Are you having a new Instagram account? Because that one that you are sharing on your channel, you don't have many followers. Oh my god. You mean the 11,000 follower joke? No, you mean in my previous video, the Layla Pons video, where I showed that I got 11,000 followers? That was a joke. I edited that in Photoshop and put that on my phone, as if like me copying one picture gave me 11,000 followers. Where I was like, oh hey, look, I made it. No, I don't have 11,000. I wish I did. I can't remember how I found your channel. I don't know either. Also a thing, no one will donate 50 on a Patreon, so you'll be, yeah, right? Though I have seen sometimes people get like sometimes like there's this one person that donates 80 a month, and I'm like, wow, wow, you have a lot of money. My sister keeps asking me what I'm doing and just keeps hitting me, and it's just being annoying. Oh, siblings. Are you the youngest, the oldest, the middle? I myself am the oldest sibling, so I'm the one that is annoying. I mean, it's not completely wrong, but I guess every single one of my siblings, including me, we're all our own way of annoying. A lot of money or terrible money management. Yeah, but musically has this life. I have an older brother and my younger sister. Okay, so you're middle. Um, musically has this thing called Live Me, something like that. And people on there can give you a present, which is bought with actual money. And then after they take like their cut, you get a bit of money of the present that they give you. So it's like, I'm gonna give you Dancing Panda, and then Dancing Panda is like €3 or something. They have a leaderboard of most gifting person of the week, which is basically the people that bought most of those gifts for people. And there were like the top one is always around 800. So it's like a 13-year-old who in some way spent $800 sending dancing pandas or rainbow puking nyan cats to people on Live Me? I don't know. Musically Live. And I'm just like, you either took your parents' credit card and they're gonna be super mad at you, or your parents just don't care and they're like, yeah, we're millionaires anyway, just give that dancing panda. She's so violent. Oh, that's not good. But yeah, no, I don't understand how people get, because let's say I was a millionaire and I had kids and they were like, Dad, so I watched this live person on Musically. Can I give them $800? I'm like, haha, no, no way. Not even if it affects me. Like, just giving that for being like, that's the same thing on here. The weather outside is really nice. And what province? Is the weather in your province also nice? Yes, it is. But it's like, YouTube has on live. It has the what is it called? It's not fan funding. It's super chat. It's where you give someone. It's a great function, and a lot of big YouTubers make a nice amount of extra money from people being like, here, have five. Here, have $2, $3 on your life. But then I sometimes see people like, I would feel so uncomfortable if someone were to give me 800, like out of the blue, like that. We're talking one person. It's like, here, I like your videos. Here, have $800. Like, of course, my business side would be like, oh my God, that's an amazing amount of money. But my personal side, like my human side, would be like, don't spend that on me like that. You could have paid rent or something. I don't get it. Like, I don't get why you would give someone that much money. I don't, at least not. Say they have like an amazing product that's 800 and they're like, oh my God, this is the best product. I want this so bad. And they buy that. Yeah. But just going on a live stream being like, oh, this person is cool. Here, have 800. I'm like, oh. I would freak out too and be like, take it back. I don't think you can give it back. Can you? I don't know. No, you can't, because they immediately like, Google takes the money from their credit card. Oh yeah, I thought that was going to be the case. Google takes the money, and then after 3 months, they give it to you. Like, because every money you make on YouTube takes 3 months to actually appear in your bank. Not sure why, but you wouldn't have to do that. That'd be. I appreciate the thought, like, honestly, but that'd be an insane like stab into your wallet. But everyone, as my phone, which I can't charge, is running out of battery and we're passing the 70-minute mark, I am going to have to lay off here and leave and everything, get the rest of my stuff done. I'm actually writing an article, and tomorrow's video, because I want to just like point out the fact that tomorrow's video is gonna be, and I'm not just looking at this right now because I completely forgot. What, tomorrow is Sunday, right? Yeah. A Harry Potter themed one, which is something that I really like. And this is not going to be like, oh my God, we're going to do a house test. But it's like, you know, Quinten Hyde style. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I'm not sure, yeah, I am sure when I'm going live again. I'm going live every time around this time on Saturday. I'm also intending on going live a bit more on my Instagram. I haven't done that yet, but I'm kind of like intending that. So next Saturday is going to be like that. If you want to be around there and get notified when it happens, you can of course click subscribe and turn on the notifications. And then after clicking that bell and then clicking on all notifications, because they need to make it a 4-step process, then you get notified whenever these things go live. Overall, I am so glad that you were here. This was a very fun stream, and I hope that you thought it was fun as well. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope you liked it, and I would love to see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.